First time on TYGR's garage, we got a runner. Welcome back to TYGR's garage. First order of business today is plug wires. I got the motor spun over back to about 15 degrees initial. We messed that up last week. When we turned it over for oil pressure, we're gonna lay out plug wires. We've got to tap the intake manifold, figure out that stripped out stud, fill the trans, and then hopefully this thing makes noise today. So I'm gonna lay these out quick and then we'll move on to the next thing. I don't have my distributor in there perfectly. Point to number one, I can't remember why. I intended on doing that, but then when it's in there, it's not. So I'm gonna see if I can make it work like this. If not, we can reclock it, but it's not that important. This is number 5135. Coming down here. I also bought spark plug insulator boots that I cannot get over the actual boots, I think, because these are 90 degrees, so nothing's touching yet. We're gonna go without until we have a problem. All right, I got the plug wires in. It's not the most beautiful routing. This whole thing really needs to be clocked, but I think we're gonna run with that for today. Nothing's touching the header. Once we get the carb and the air cleaner on, it'll hide it a little bit better too. I'm also not really an open your hood and show off kind of guy, so I don't care a whole bunch. This weekend's all about hearing it run. So we're gonna leave that for now. Turn our attention to the radiator, which if you remember from last video, doesn't fit that good. I have a plan. If you remember from last time, the radiator and the fan kind of get sandwiched and bolted together on the core support. And it had these cap screws with this little spacer. This is what creates the standoff so the fan can kind of smoosh to the shroud. These are almost too short and really fiddly to get everything in there, so I went ahead and bought some studs that I'm going to screw into the radiator, use the same spacer, and I'm hoping I can slide that into the mounting holes and then run nuts on the back side to squeeze everything together and kind of hold it in place while I do it. I think there's enough room to get all that in here with the studs hanging out of the radiator and then kind of drop straight down and sneak her back. So that's what we're gonna try now. This is still kind of a fiddly operation, but it is working better. This is engaged with all the holes in the core support. I just got to get the fan in a spot that I'm happy with. That's gonna be perfect. With the right assortment of nuts and washers, that'll suck down. So I'm gonna reuse some of these. The studs are plenty long, but that's all right. All right, so next thing, if you remember, we pulled the threads out of this hole. So I got some longer carb studs, which is gonna help get more engagement into this. I also have a helicoil kit, but first things first, I'm gonna just try to re-tap this, see if we can't clean it up a bit and get a stud to go in there without drilling anything, which would be plan A. I think it just messed up the top couple, and with a longer stud with more engagement, we might get away with it. We'll just chase this down, clean it up. I don't know if anything happened. I feel like that's in there pretty good. It's got a little wobble, but if I don't get wild, we might be able to get away with it. Let's set the carb up there. Go ahead and drop the other studs in. This one has to be a bolt because of the way that it is. And these studs might even be a little long. A lot more engagement. I think it might work if I can get a nut on there. Well, I was able to get studs in all four corners. The wrenching might be a challenge. Is this a 1/2 inch? Now this is the corner that we're suspect of. I don't want to go too crazy. I would say that's installed. Listen, I apologize if I was talking a little quiet there in the beginning. Little inside baseball. My storage unit neighbor, I don't know who he is. I think he's living out of it, which is fine. I don't really care about that. But I certainly don't want looky-loos coming over. This is not a car show. So I was kind of trying to whisper and then he just left. So I think we're in the clear for now. But the fact that he's living here, which is very much against the rules, means that what I'm about to do today, which is start this car in here, which is also against the rules, much lesser offense. So I think we'll be all right. Anyways, carb's installed. Got away with one in this back corner. We're gonna go ahead and put the throttle linkage on and we're gonna snake the fuel inlet over. I gotta run home and get a little pipe dope and a torch to try to get that plug out, because I do want to at least be ready to wire in a different style fan switch. And then fill the trans, connect the wires to the fuel pump. Probably gonna bolt the exhaust all the way on. I might grab a blower from home too, because when I started in here, I wanna let it run for a minute and I don't want to die. of asphyxiation. All right, we are back. The goal is to get this plug out. I tried without any heat or juice, and it is in there pretty tight. So I got my torch, I got some coil, I got a little bit more motivation, and I also got some thread sealant, so when we do get it out, we can seal the other thing and get it back in. I know it's tight, so we're gonna start with just warming it up a bit. Oh, there it goes. And there it goes on the floor. Now I think that's 3/8 pipe. This is also 3/8 pipe. Okay, cool. So these work by completing a ground circuit when they get to temperature. This one is 185 or thereabouts, plus or minus 10 degrees probably. When that happens, they have to ground through the threads. So I don't want a ton of thread sealant on this because I want it to have a ground, but I do want a little around the top. So I'm gonna try to carefully put some just on the upper couple threads here, and we will send this home and then probably start working on radiator hoses, fill in the rad, because I want to like let it sit here and do burping or whatever while we're doing other stuff. I have a sneaking suspicion that we are going to end up using this to control the fan, but that, as long as it's in there, it's easy to hook up later. We'll leave it like that for now. That way we're ready in the event that our fans don't come on. And what I'll do is I'll just delete this box. I'll grab the power that's going to it, that's right here. That'll ground the fan, and it should be pretty easy to hook up to a 30 amp relay if we have to. This one I put tape on that says top, so it must be the upper. I assume it goes just like that. I don't think this radiator has like a petcock, so we don't have to worry about that being open. Fluid's going in. We're going to, this is one of those fancy funnels that actually engages the radiator cap. We're gonna eventually do that, but for now, I don't have it set up that way because I just wanna put some in until I can see it in the rad and I know we're close. I don't actually know how much it's gonna take. I'm not entirely sure that 3 gallons is gonna be enough. Well, it took all 3 gallons and it's still not coming out this hole, which is tapped quarter pipe. I think I have a quarter pipe nipple at home that I need to get, and I can't forget to do that. That'll let the air start to work its way out. We're pretty much done up here. I think what we're gonna do now is dive back underneath, fill the trans, hang the exhaust, wire the fuel pump. Right here, where my finger is the fill plug for the trans. It shouldn't take more than a gallon. I have more than that. I'm running Redline MT90 in this. So I'm gonna grab a crescent wrench, pull that plug out, and we'll fill this. We're gonna see if we can do this without making a giant mess. We'll just start pumping until it comes out. Okay, next up is to hang the exhaust, which is back here. Here's our exhaust. We got one for both sides, obviously. It exits right about here. There's a single hanger in the back that I think we're gonna get on first, then kind of lever it up and mate to the headers. I got new header gaskets. These are Seal for Good, which is a very like 90s hot rodder name. You can tell by the Mustang Camaro, 2 Camaros. Anyways, what's important about these is they are what's called dead soft aluminum, which means there's no temper to it. It is pretty soft, and as you suck it down, it conforms much like our header gaskets to any imperfections. Retorque a couple times. They're supposed to be reusable and not leak. So we're going to use these. We got one for each side. It's a 3.5 inch collector. Looks like to a 3-inch pipe. This is a stud that's welded on, which is the one and only hanger for these hot units. Safety bolted on there. And then I'm having more jack stands over here. So I might sneak my little tranny jack over here to hold the muffler up so I can get bolts in the collector. Okay, these come with new hardware. It's very much appreciated. Is something like that. We'll just go around and get all these snug for now, and then we'll really put the squeeze on them. If we're able to, I'd love to retorque these hot. When the aluminum's a little softer, and really get the smoosh going. That's good enough for now. We gotta move to the back. Tighten up that hanger. My belly is a perfect jack stand. This is hard. There we go. Well, whoa. Let's get a nut on it so it doesn't come crashing down. We're getting awful close now. I need to hook power to the fuel pump, which is these two red wires, which I had to cut to get it out. And I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to have enough to cut and crimp. That's going to be close. So what I'm going to do is cut this as far as I can get it, and then strip it, and we'll just put a spade. It's going to be okay. Okay, fuel pump wire. Now, with the battery on, it should come on. With the battery on, it should run from the key. Still need to run home and grab a few things, but I'm going to try to do everything I can before that, so I make sure I don't need to make any more trips. The next step is we're going to reinstall a pistol grip. Oh, it's got a lot of movement. That could be... Oh, yes, there we go. So we're getting very, very, very close to trying to turn this thing over. I ran back home and I got a little quarter pipe to barb for this to replace that one that's broken. And I filled up 2 of those jugs with water because I am out of coolant, but I think we're close to full, so we can just top it with water. That's no big deal. Kind of nervous, guys, I'll be honest. I did go ahead and turn the key on. I put 5 gallons of fuel in it. Just to make sure we didn't have any fuel leaks. We do not. Pressure looks low. I'm not totally sure why. Obviously that was without the engine running, but it was about 3. This pump is loud. And I can't tell if it's loud, like worn out, or loud. I think it just is that way. So we're gonna get our stuff situated. It's actually already over there. When it's running, we'll adjust it up to like 5. Before I forget, I'm gonna go around to the 4-corner idle circuit and just make sure each one of those is 1.5 turns out. And I'm gonna make sure I have the stuff to adjust the idle here. I didn't get any fuel puking out of the vents or anything, so the float must not be stuck, which it shouldn't be. This is a freshly rebuilt unit by yours truly. Let me move some of this stuff. We are so close. I can't decide if I'm nervous or excited. Like I said, I'm out of coolant, but it's got 3 gallons in it of the 50-50 mix. So we'll come in with just water for the rest of it. Oh, we got a leak already at the water neck. That's annoying. Put a squeeze on those. See if we can't shore that up. Not gonna worry about that right now. Might need to pull that back off. Use a better gasket. That's the paper one. Use a better gasket and or a touch of silicone, but that'll be fine for now. All right. I think we're there, man. The moment we've all been waiting for here. First fire on a new build. I got my blower running in the background. I think everything's hooked up. Base timing set, best that I know how. Carb should be close. There's oil in it. We'll immediately check for oil pressure, although we know it built 25 pounds. Cranking last time. If I have the timing close, this thing should light off. If it lights off, we're gonna verify oil pressure, make sure it doesn't sound crazy, and then let it run, burp some coolant, and just kind of generally look over stuff and be real happy. Here we go. We're in neutral. There's that fuel pump. Oh, it lit right off. $75 pounds of oil pressure. Got a bunch of oil pressure. Yeah, baby! All right, we got a runner. I'm gonna turn the idle up a bit and put a turn in the fuel pressure. need to adjust the idle. I need to get a little air, but it runs. It sounds pretty good. I'm very excited. No knocks, no clicks, no nothing like that. It did drink all this water. I wonder if the T-stat opened. I'm gonna put a little bit more in it, put a couple turns of idle in it, and then start it back up. Okay, listen, I'm so excited. It sounds great. It runs good. It takes throttle. I'll put the timing light on it quick. It's only got about 12 initial, so we're super safe. We had an 18-degree stop bushing in it, so that's 30 total, coming in by probably about 3,500 RPM. Again, really safe. I'm gonna leave it there for now. I think there's room, but for now I'm gonna leave it. We do have a couple issues, however, that might keep us from taking this thing on a street drive. The first one is this fuel pressure regulator. I think it's junk. Initially it was reading about 3, I told you that. I cranked it all the way in. I can't get it to come up, and now even just idling, sitting here, it's at 0. This is an original part to the car. It's probably, the diaphragm in there is probably just junk. So I don't know what the fuel pressure's at, which makes me a little bit nervous. The other thing, which is super annoying but fixable, is we had a freeze plug leaking. Now, if you remember way back, we had freeze plug issues with this motor coming out of the machine shop. They're the ones that put them in. The one in about the middle back here is dripping just a little bit of coolant, which is super annoying. It's in a spot where I think I can get to it okay. We can try to maybe push it in a bit, and then it ain't coming back out. So we're gonna do our best to seal it up from the outside. Little RTD, little JB, something like that. No one's ever gonna see it. Otherwise, this thing is awesome. It sounds good. It blew a bunch of soot out. I got marks on both walls. Fans are running. Speaking of fans, this fan did come on. It's got a little dial. I'm able to adjust it and turn it on. I show you. See? It was sitting here running about 180 degrees. In other news, this leak here seems to maybe have solved itself. I don't know if we got the gasket swole up a little bit and then things are happy, but right now I'm not gonna concern myself with that. My biggest concern is this fuel pressure regulator. We obviously need to know what that is. So I'm gonna let it cool all the way down, put the rad cap back on. I'd really like to get it on the ground today and out and washed, to be honest. The other thing we need to do is make a clutch adjustment. The pedal's way down on the floor. I did go through all the gears and it works, but I got like this much travel. All right, back from lunch. This thing is pretty much cooled down. We're gonna go ahead and put the real radiator cap on first, because that is an easy project, maybe. Okay, now here's my thought. I think we got a bum fuel pressure regulator. I know we got a couple coolant leaks. I'm not gonna deal with those right now. And this one seemed to stop leaking. We'll see now that it's gonna be pressurized. The other thing I wanna check is I only put 5 gallons in this, so maybe we are running out of fuel and we don't have a bum regulator, so I have another 5 I'm gonna put in. And then I think we're gonna get this thing on the ground and at least get it out where we can see it from both sides. Maybe put the hood on, I don't know. Okay, we are just about ready to lower this thing down and roll it outside for the first time in almost a year, but I do wanna check the air and the meats. They want 20 pounds cold in these. I've had it up on stands. They got 8 in them. So we'll adjust that. We'll go 15. It's about time to get it off the stands. Still got a questionable fuel pressure regulator, although now it's reading 3.5. Before it was stuck at 0, which I feel is like just reinforces my feeling that it's junk. But we're not gonna hot rod it. We're just gonna set it on the ground and get it out so we could sweep, right? It's not about seeing it in the light, it's about sweeping. I do need to pick up over here. It's pretty much a disaster. Oh, by the way, forgot to film it, but I put the hood on for the full effect. The whole time we had this running, I had it on the charger. I'm hoping this battery's strong enough to start and run the car without the help of the charger. Coming down. First time in a long time. Let's put it in the sunshine. There she is, boys. Well, I guess we better pull the door down and go say hi to the neighborhood. What do you think? We're not gonna hot rod it, but we'll go by the house. I think that's going to do it for this episode of Tiger's Garage. Thanks for coming along. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time, hopefully with a fuel pressure regulator and a little bit longer drive.